NBA likes.
Yeah, well,
First of all, look at who's being featured in those games.
You know, it's football season when you call a basketball game a kickoff. That's when you know you've officially. That's why the fantasy zone is today at 4 o'clock.
Yeah,
for exactly that reason. But you're right. You know exactly who the NBA covets, who they want to promote to you, and what matters to them. And the Christmas Day games, 5 games, kicking off with the Knicks and the Hawks, and then shutting it down with the Mavs and the Jazz.
Knicks and the Hawks game starts at like 7:30 in the morning, something like that, 8:30 in the morning.
It's not that early. You get it at noon. You know, wake up, open up the presents, and then boom, Trae Young.
There you go.
We know outside of the Lakers and the Knicks, those are the only teams that year in and year out, no matter what is going on, they've got to be putrid bad for those 2 organizations to not be featured on Christmas Day. The league is telling you with the release who they're promoting, not the teams, because they're going to throw Lakers, Knicks on there if they're even a whiff of relevant.
Absolutely.
But everybody else that's on there, this isn't because of the teams. It's because of the players that are on the teams. Who are their guys that they want to promote to you, the fans? And it is amazing to me that they aren't wrapping their arms around Zion Williamson.
No, they're not.
They're actually moving away from him. He's been on Christmas the last 2 years.
Yep.
And
I'm glad you noticed that.
They are openly telling you, we're not so sure about this guy.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And you should take notice of that. I think that is something that we should all be paying attention to, because as much as we talk about what the NBA does here and what the NBA does there, the NBA is right a lot about who they push and why they push them. And I'm not saying that Zion's going to be a bust. I'm not saying he's not going to be a great player. I'm saying the NBA is looking at Zion and the Pelicans and saying, you're not a draw like we thought you were going to be. You're going to have to do a little bit more winning, make things a little bit more exciting before we start pushing you. Because right now, Zion's exciting to people who live, breathe, and eat basketball. That's about it.
I wonder how much of that is actually his fault, or if the New Orleans Pelicans are that uninteresting to people that they're actually dragging him down.
Actually, I would put it more on him, but I don't know. It would be like 60-40, 70-30, somewhere around there.
I mean, they're not helping, but I agree with you. Them not putting him on Christmas Day reeks of the NBA telling you, this isn't our guy yet.
Right.
Because if they felt like they had a star, it wouldn't matter if he was playing in New Orleans. It wouldn't matter if he was playing. They put his G League game on Christmas Day.
Shaq and Dwight were on Christmas Day all the time, period.
LeBron James, 16 straight years this guy's been on Christmas Day. They put,
without a doubt.
And it's not like they haven't dipped their toe. It's not like it would be one thing if Zion hadn't been on Christmas Day yet. That would be the NBA saying, you just haven't earned it yet.
Yes.
The fact that he was on in multiple years and then has been yanked off is puzzling to me. They're clearly sending a message here, and I think they're making a mistake.
Really?
Because you're right. The NBA typically anoints their stars properly.
Yes.
They've got the next one, and they are backing away from him. And I honestly am confused as to why they're doing this.
So who do you, looking at this list, right? You're looking at this list of the Christmas Day games. Who do you see in this list that you believe they are now replacing Zion with and saying, you're more exciting, people are more interested in you, your market's bigger, your push is going to be bigger, your money's going to be bigger, we're going to put you in this spot instead of putting Zion in this spot?
The easy answer for me would be the Jazz. I would push the Jazz out. Mavericks Pelicans should be the game that closes down the night.
No, I'm saying would be a terrible game to watch. But what I'm saying is, who do you think that they're replacing Zion with? So they're saying, Zion, you're not that guy this year, but insert Trae Young, because Trae Young, you are that guy, and people are loving you, and we think you're a better push than Zion is right now.
Yeah, it's probably that, because the Knicks are gifted that opportunity because they're the Knicks, and they were in the playoffs last year, so the NBA can justify that. I look at the Celtics and go, I don't know what kind of year you're expecting from Boston. It's not a very good basketball team. So I'm not that interested by that. I would replace them, but that's one of those teams, they're legacy.
That's right.
So when they have a star and they're mildly relevant, I guess we should add them to the mix of the 3 teams that just get gifted an opportunity to play on the showcase day for the NBA because of the team that they are. So the Celtics are hard to move off of that spot. The Bucks won the championship and have Giannis, so no argument there. You've got Golden State. They still have Steph Curry. The Suns, who the Warriors are playing, makes sense. They were in the finals. They're super interesting. So I'm good with that. You've got Nets Lakers. That's obvious.
Absolutely.
All the stars in that game. And that's where you come down to Dallas and Utah. You're telling me
there's a reason that game is last. It's not just because it's on the West Coast.
I mean, it would have been an indictment if that was the Pelicans matchup and they were on at 10:30. It's even more of an indictment that they're not on at all. So that to me would be the replacement. But you're right. They're probably telling you it's Trae Young that we have anointed as the next. It's Trae Young and it's Luka.
Yeah.
Because it's not the Jazz are in there because Vivint Smart Home in Utah and Salt Lake City is a tremendous atmosphere. So if they've got people that are going to that arena, you want electricity to close out the day, that good feel on Christmas. It's a great place to have a showcase game to close out your wonderful day of basketball.
And they also understand what game this is. This is the last game of the night. It's not going to get the same. When the Nets and Lakers goes off, there's going to be 1 million and plus remote controls, swipes, however they're turning this video off, they're turning it off. So they are recognizing that and giving you something to substantiate you for the rest of the year.
Yes, it is just
that's what it is.
It's the late night trip to Taco Bell. It's not the most important meal you're going to eat in the day. So I think they're making a mistake. Text in, let me know what you think. 50857. I mean, LeBron, once he got on, never came off. So this is a bad sign. And the NBA, they're smart. They're telling you something. They're telling the league something. I don't happen to see that. I see growth in Zion, not shrinkage, for lack of a better word.
The question is not will he be a better player? The question is, can Zion be LeBron? Can he be Magic Johnson? Can he be Michael Jordan? Or will he be Karl Malone? They're both stars, but they're two very different brightness of stars.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the question, and I think what the NBA is saying right now is they think that Zion's going to end up being more like Karl Malone than he's going to be Michael Jordan.
Well, I just want to put it on record. But if you've listened to this show for any length of time, you already know that I feel this way. I think the NBA is getting it wrong, and they really do that when anointing their next guy. But they've got options.
Yes, that's one thing.
Of options.
They do. They have a lot of options, and there's people that they could have put on that list that they didn't. So they have a lot of options. Miami's not on that list. Miami could have easily been in one of those games.
Who else slipped off? Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The Clippers aren't in that list now. They might not know if Kawhi is going to be there, but still, his team is a relevant team and has star power to it that they could have put on that Christmas Day game.
I'm thinking, well, Kawhi signed the extension, but I am thinking that maybe he'd look at that game and go, it's a rest day.
Exactly, it's a rest day. I got to make sure I'm not injured. Am I back in better by now?
How about their MVP? They're like, Nikola Jokic, not interested.
Yeah,
thanks.
Absolutely. So they've got so many options of, especially with as exciting as the playoffs were this past season, they've got so many options of people that they can put in that position. To be honest with you, unless Zion showed something amazing this season, I wouldn't waste it on Zion either. No matter how much I think he's going to be the next guy, he's not there right now. And I don't know how many people are running to the TV sets because Zion's playing tonight.
I think there would be, but I'm just sort of coming up with this theory on the fly. I think the NBA might be shifting away from its old formula of let's anoint one guy. He's going to be the star of the league, the end, and everybody else fall in line, which has been the case forever. Every team that's playing on Christmas Day was in the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
Or this year. And this was the most exciting tournament we've seen in years. We all loved it. If you watched it, you were intoxicated by it.
Without a doubt.
And for good reason. And so maybe the NBA is telling us, the consumer, this is now what matters. We're promoting the teams and the league and the success rather than the individual, which wasn't always the case. So maybe they're just changing their format.
Or maybe they just don't like Zion.
Or that. Coming up next, Josh Rosen was waived by the 49ers, and it confirms a theory of mine. I'll share that next.
The Bills champ lives here.